Modern warfare is often explained through famous battles or individual weapons, but the decisive factor in World War II was the ability to move men, supplies, and firepower across the entire globe. For the United States, victory depended not on a single revolutionary machine, but on a carefully coordinated system of vehicles designed for mobility, endurance, and mass production. Understanding these vehicles explains how the United States transformed industrial capacity into battlefield dominance across Europe, the Pacific, and beyond. The Willys MB Jeep became one of the most recognizable vehicles of World War II. Not because of armor or firepower, but because of its versatility. Designed as a light utility vehicle, the Jeep was engineered to be simple, rugged, and easily repairable under combat conditions. Its compact size allowed it to operate where larger vehicles could not. From narrow European roads to jungle tracks in the Pacific, the Jeep served as the primary tactical transport for U.S. forces. It was used for reconnaissance patrols, command mobility, radio communications, and light cargo transport. Infantry units relied on it to move officers, medical personnel, and supplies quickly across the battlefield. Its four-wheel drive system provided reliable performance in mud, snow, sand, and rough terrain, making it adaptable to nearly every theater of war. Although lightly armored and vulnerable to enemy fire, the Jeep's value lay in its speed and flexibility rather than protection. It became an essential link between frontline units and rear area support, contributing to the rapid tempo of American operations. By the end of the war, the Willys MB had become a symbol of U.S. tactical mobility and logistical efficiency. The M4 Sherman medium tank formed the backbone of American armored forces during World War II, designed for mass production and mechanical reliability. The Sherman emphasized standardization over extreme armor or firepower. This approach allowed the United States to produce and deploy large numbers of tanks quickly, ensuring armored units could be sustained throughout prolonged campaigns. The Sherman was used primarily for infantry support and exploitation roles. It was designed to work alongside infantry units, suppress enemy positions, and break through defensive lines. In combined arms operations, Sherman tanks operated with artillery, infantry, and air support to compensate for their limitations against heavier enemy armor, while the Sherman was outmatched by some German tanks in direct engagements. Its reliability, ease of maintenance, and numerical availability allowed U.S. forces to maintain operational momentum. The tank's adaptability also led to numerous variants, including versions equipped with improved guns, specialized armor, and support roles. The Sherman's effectiveness was defined not by individual duels, but by its role within a coordinated battlefield system. The Douglas C-47 Skytrain was one of the most important aircraft in Allied service, despite being unarmed. Adapted from a civilian airliner, the C-47 became the backbone of American and Allied air transport during the war. Its strength lay in its reliability, range, and ability to operate from rough or improvised airfields. The Skytrain was essential for moving troops, equipment, and supplies across vast distances. It played a central role in airborne operations, delivering paratroopers behind enemy lines during major campaigns in Europe. The aircraft was also used extensively for cargo transport, medical evacuation, and resupply missions in areas where ground transport was limited or impossible in the Pacific theater. The C-47 enabled sustained operations across island chains by maintaining logistical links between bases. Its contribution was not measured in combat victories, but in continuity of operations. The ability to reinforce, supply, and evacuate forces by air gave U.S. commanders a level of flexibility that shaped strategic planning throughout the war. The landing vehicle tracked, commonly known as the LVT, was developed to meet the specific demands of amphibious warfare. Traditional landing craft struggled in shallow waters and over coral reefs, particularly in the Pacific theater. The LVT addressed this problem by combining tracked mobility with amphibious capability. The vehicle was used to transport troops, equipment, and supplies directly from ships to contested beaches. Its track design allowed it to cross reefs, soft sand, and rough terrain that would stop wheeled vehicles. Later variants were equipped with armor and weapons, enabling them to provide limited fire support during amphibious assaults. The LVT played a critical role in major Pacific operations, where control of beachheads determined the success of island campaigns. While vulnerable to enemy fire and mechanically complex, its ability to sustain ship-to-shore movement under combat conditions made it indispensable. The LVT represented the adaptation of American vehicle design to the unique challenges of the Pacific War. These vehicles functioned as components of a unified operational system rather than as isolated machines. The C-47 Skytrain enabled strategic and operational mobility, delivering troops and supplies across continents and oceans. The LVT carried those forces from naval transport to contested shorelines, establishing beachheads under fire. Once ashore, Sherman tanks provided armored support for advancing infantry, while jeeps ensured command, reconnaissance, and logistical coordination at the tactical level. This system emphasized endurance, replacement, and sustained pressure rather than technical superiority in individual engagements. The strength of U.S. forces lay in their ability to integrate air, land, and sea mobility into continuous operations. Limitations in armor protection or firepower were offset by coordination, supply reliability, and the capacity to replace losses rapidly. U.S. vehicles in World War II were designed to support a global war of movement and logistics. Their historical importance lies not in singular battlefield performance, but in their collective contribution to sustained operations across multiple theaters. By prioritizing reliability, mass production, and system-level coordination, the United States created a vehicle network capable of supporting modern industrial warfare. These machines illustrate how strategic design choices, rather than individual technical dominance, shaped the outcome of the war.